the phrase art imitates life may never be more true than it is with our first guest. She is a world-renowned violinist who stars in the original Hallmark Movies and Mysteries film, The Christmas Bow. Please welcome the very talented Lucia Micarelli. Welcome, Lucia.
Thank you.
Great to have you. My goodness. I mean, I was not like overselling that.
No.
You are incredibly talented. Welcome to the Hallmark family. This is a big deal. So when Hallmark came to you, they asked you to play Kate in this great movie. It's about a violinist who injures her hand and then has to kind of find her way back to the craft. So what was that like for you reading the script for the first time? Because there was a lot of similarities in there for you.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I mean, you know, when Hallmark first approached me, I was just excited because I thought, oh, I get to be a violinist and I can play classical music, which I love, and I can play and I can act, and it's like, oh, what a fun project. It'll be all these things that I love to do. And then I started reading the script and it was like, oh, she hurts herself. I had hurt myself a few years back. Slightly different injuries. Kate had some fractures in fingers on her left hand. I was on tour with a jazz trumpet player named Chris Bodie, and we had played a show in Italy. And after the show, we were backstage, and I was in my gown, and I was holding a glass, and I tripped on my dress, and I landed on the glass. So I actually severed like 3 nerves in my left hand.
Oh my goodness!
And but a few pages into the script, there's this scene in the doctor's office. I remember when I first read it, I don't know, I got real freaked out because the conversation that Kate has with her doctor was so, I had almost the exact same conversation with my surgeon when I had my surgery, and I'm sitting there going, you know, will I be able to play again?
Sure.
And he says, I think so. We won't know for sure. And then I'm like, will I play at the same level? And he goes, I don't know. And I had never, you know, I had never done anything other than play the violin. So that how scary that moment is when you're sort of, is this over, this thing I've been doing my whole life, you know, since I was 3.
I've got
definitely
goosebumps.
related to Kate.
Imagine it's your whole world.
Right. The good news is it's worked out okay
Yeah,
for you.
that's right.
Yeah, she did get full movement back in her hand.
I got so lucky. Yeah. I don't have full feeling in 3 of my fingers, but there were no tendons, like no ligaments were hurt, so I have full mobility. And it's fine, and
you can play even better than you did before. It's like a bionic hand now. Well, Kate, like you said, your character Kate has a lot of similarities to you in real life. And like you said, in that doctor's office, Kate does go visit a doctor to see about her hand. And, you know, being a classically trained violinist does not leave a lot of time for romance until she meets the physical therapist.
Boy.
Take a look.
Did you notice anything?
Beautiful.
Beautiful?
What? Yes, it was you were playing. Your hands were moving beautifully. You really progressed.
Oh my goodness, how beautiful! Now we should point out that he was an old friend of yours in the film, and then you reunite for the first time there, and you didn't realize he was the physical therapist.
Right. Kate and Patrick have known each other since they were little kids. It's super cute. Yeah, and she doesn't know that he's going to be her physical therapist, and of course he helps her through her difficult time, and they fall in love. But also Michael Rady is the best.
Yeah,
he's the greatest.
Fantastic.
He's so lovely. He's just a prince.
I mean, it would be hard not to fall in love with you. Watching that was just magical.
It really was.
Gosh, you were so fantastic. And this movie has even more connection to you and is even more special to you, not just because of the violin, but because your real-life father is actually honored in the film, too, in a certain way. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Once I was attached to the film, I mean, I did a PBS concert special a few years ago, and it's a concert special of the show that I do, that I tour with. And the show is kind of a mix of classical music and jazz and Americana and folk music and stuff, but it's all these different genres that I like, that I kind of connect through personal stories. So you hear like a journey sort of throughout my musical life through this music, but these personal stories. And one of the stories that I tell in that show, which Hallmark heard about and then kind of adapted the script to fit, is my father had Parkinson's, and for the last few years of his life he couldn't speak, and he didn't remember who we were, and he couldn't communicate with us. And one year I went to go visit him, and it was around Christmas time, and I had come straight from the airport, and I had my violin with me. I don't know why I had never thought to bring my violin with me to go see him before, and that time I just happened to have it. And so I was in the facility, and I just started playing Silent Night, and then he started singing along, and he remembered all the words. And after that, I played a bunch of Christmas songs, but I also talked to my mom and like learned about a lot of songs that he had loved growing up. So it was like a lot of Frank Sinatra and like Billie Holiday. And after that, every time I went to see him, I would play music and he would sing, and we would sing together. And that was so, I thought it was just this crazy thing that had happened. I started talking to people about it, and I heard so many people have stories like that about family members or friends they have who have dementia that really respond to music even when they can't speak anymore.
Unbelievable.
And so that ended up, we kind of played that into the storyline of Kate's grandmother. And that scene, when we shot that scene, the whole room was
Waterworks.
just bawling. Everybody was bawling. So many people have a story like that. That's the thing. So many people, even when we did that scene on set, there were so many people on set who were like, this happened with my grandmother, this happened with my father, this happened with my uncle, and so it's really interesting, the space that music occupies in our brains.
For sure it does.
Different than language. It's its own language.
And in our hearts.
So it's so incredibly
That's so
powerful to
beautiful.
hear stories like that. But also, I'm thinking back to musicals, right? So music obviously helps people feel emotions.
Yeah.
So to see that scene, knowing the backstory, and have the music be part of it, I mean, it must have been and it will be very, very powerful for so many people. It's beautiful. And I know this started really early for you. I mean, you knew you wanted to be a professional violinist at the age of 6, which is pretty early. Well, and then, listen, wait, we got some video when you were 8, and then people will say, oh man, maybe she was serious.
Yeah.
Take a look.
Oh my goodness. You were 8 years old here?
That is
I mean, I don't want to sound ignorant because I'm not classically trained as a violinist, but what piece of music was that?
Yeah, I mean,
That's the last movement of the Bartok Romanian folk dances.
of course it is.
Of course.
That's
Yes,
what I couldn't
That was
answer
going to
that
be
for
my
you.
second guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Cameron was going to say that.
You're just amazing on so many levels. This movie is amazing. Welcome to the Hallmark family, like
you
I
so
mentioned.
much.
And thanks for joining us today.
You're so
Everybody,
wonderful.
The Christmas Bow premieres Sunday, November 8th at 10 p.m., 9 Central on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries during the network's annual Miracles of Christmas programming event. You're home for the holiday, of course.
And it is such a beautiful movie. You don't want to miss it.